Good morning.
Hi, Sherif.
Today,
How are you?
fine. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, Natalia. I'm very happy to welcome Natalia Bilbao. She's originally from Spain, and right now she's in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years ago, we published a written interview on the website,
Mm-hmm.
and right now we have the pleasure to welcoming her live. How are you, Natalia?
I'm
Everything's
good. I'm
fine?
good. Doing great. It's a beautiful day, sunny day here in Los Angeles, California.
Very good. Here as well. We are in Ecuador right now, me and my wife.
Oh, in Ecuador. Interesting.
Yes, yes. Natalia, I want to know first, you explain how you moved and you studied first in London, then you moved to the United States, but I think you
Mhm.
still work between California and Europe, right?
I mean, before the pandemic, that was the idea.
Yeah.
When I moved to the US, like my main focus was going to be to work in the US, but I wanted to be able
Yes.
to go back and forth. So I was doing that, like a little bit of that during the first year. And then, when the pandemic hit, I
Uh-huh.
couldn't travel. Like I couldn't even see my family. But the
Really?
idea is to be, be an international professional.
Yes. And I want to ask you, not all actors or actresses from Europe, can have the same success in America. Tell me, according to you, and as an advice to forthcoming
Mhm.
artists, what were the challenges and difficulties you faced to make this move?
That's a great question. Well, the first obvious challenge is the legal challenge. Obviously, you have to get a work visa or
Mhm.
something that allows you to live and work in the United States, and that can be challenging if you don't have the right experience. Like it's not easy. Obviously, everybody wants to come to the U.S. to make it. So I would say the first thing is make sure you meet the requirements, like the legal requirements, to be able to work here legally.
Yes.
And then the other thing is obviously number one, I would say the language, unless you want to, work on, there's a lot of Spanish content here. So if, Spanish is your first language, then you can just focus on that. But obviously there's most of the content here is in English. So I would
Yes.
say really make sure you feel very comfortable with your English, and you might think you're good at English, but then you move here and it's like you're not that good. So I would say
Mhm.
really work hard on your English, not just on your knowledge, but also on your accent. So even if
Yes.
you don't, sound completely American, you can still, play a foreigner, but you have to make sure that people can understand your accent, because you're like, oh yeah, I have an accent, but one thing is having an accent, and another thing is having an accent that people here can understand. So I guess those are the two main things.
Yes, I know there are a lot of networks and sometimes films that in the United States, and also
Hmm.
they are affiliated with Latino products and
Hmm.
production in Mexico or here in Latin America, Colombia, uh, and maybe Brazil as well. But
Hmm.
I want to ask you. Is there a difference between casting a Spanish-born actress like yourself and a Latin-born actress? I mean, in Latin America, or there is no difference for the casting director?
Um, I don't think there's ultimately casting just is just looking for the right person for the role. I don't think there's a distinction in the casting process based on your country of origin. There are different like styles, obviously, like in Europe, in the US and Latin America, but that just has to do with the products that we create that are different. Obviously, the cultures are different. So, the way the audience perceives a character in like a Latin American show may be different to the one a US audience member perceives a US show, and same thing goes for Europe. So, in terms of like, yeah, like casting directors in Europe and in the US and in Latin America, maybe look for different things in actors. But in terms of, like Latin American actors, Spanish actors, or American actors, auditioning for roles here in the US, it's the same process. Like there's no distinction once you're in the same room in the same country.
Yes, and right now, I've seen you have done a lot of work in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, television series and some short films as well.
And
Uh,
some feature films. Yeah. They'll come
yeah.
out. One of them is coming out soon. So,
So, okay, which one? Because I've seen that you completed a lot of work on the Internet Movie Database.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
which is the close thing to be released?
Well, funny enough, there's one that I have a small role in this one, but it's To Be Mellow is a film that is premiering on YouTube, and so check it out. It's To Be Mellow, Melo. I have a small role in that, but I really like the feature film, and I think the director and the lead did a great role of shooting a very low budget film. I think it was right before the pandemic, funny enough.
Yes,
And then during the pandemic, I shot two more movies. One is called Mind Heist, and that is still pending distribution. And the other is called No Man's Law, which has garnered a lot of international awards. I've so far won like, I think it's like 11 actually, Best Actors Awards in different international festivals. So that I know that is being released in different countries with different distributors. So hopefully you guys will
is
be able
this
to
the
check that
one
out.
you play a cop in this film? Is this the one?
Yes, that's the one. I love how like knowledgeable you are, Sharif. Like you really did your work. Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
play a border patrol officer in that film.
In where? In which part
In
of
No
the
Man's
United?
Law. Yeah, for Mine Heist, I play like a
Uh-huh,
robber. I play like the villain of the film, which was a
uh-huh.
lot of fun. So I did
So
like
you're
for
gonna
it was
catch
nice.
yourself.
Huh?
You're gonna catch yourself.
I know. I was like literally, and it was so funny because I shot Mine Heist. I think the end of September 2020, and then I shot No Man's Law in November. So in a matter of months, I went from the worst person on earth to like a savior. So that was
Yes,
fun.
I was asking you your role as a police officer, a patrol woman.
Mhm.
It takes place in which place in the United States? On which state?
So
The
it
film.
takes place. It's in different states of the South mostly. It
Yes.
takes place in Louisiana, Alabama. So like the so we're alongside the border of the
Yes.
U.S. and it's like this
Yes.
whole chase, and there's a lot of like car chase scenes in the film.
Uh-huh.
It's a very it's like an action like I wouldn't say thriller, but I guess it's a feel good action thriller. Like
Mhm.
hopefully I won't like spoil the end, but hopefully people who watch it will appreciate what happens at the end, and we'll get a
Yeah,
warm-ish feeling.
I want to ask you, this is the time you hold the gun in a film.
This is not the first time I've had to hold a gun in a movie. I don't know when the first time was. That's a good question. I don't know when the first time that I had to hold a gun, because I think I've also had to hold a gun like in on stage for theater plays, and uh I've had to hold like swords and daggers, so a lot of different kinds of weapons. So, but yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, I had the lead of the film and director Richard Douglas, who is my creative partner and one of my favorite people in the world. He was a cop.
Yes.
Like he's a criminal lawyer now. He's an actor, director. He was a cop in Atlanta, so he knew all of that stuff. Because you don't want to be that actor who holds the gun weird. You want to make
Yes.
sure that's one of the first things that people can tell. Like when an
Of
actor
course.
can't hold their gun, it just completely like throws
Of
you
course.
out of the film.
Did he train you before the shooting himself, or they
He
hire
did. He showed me a
someone
couple of
special?
things. Yeah, he gave me.
Yes.
I already knew from prior work experiences how to hold a gun properly and how to position myself. That kind of stuff. Like you're not holding your gun here because like stuff that people normally wouldn't think about unless it's being pointed out to them. So it was more of kind of like refreshing the things that I knew already, more than just
Mhm.
learning from scratch.
I didn't see a lot of films with a female cop. I've seen a lot of films. The only film I remember where a female cop was the title character, I think it was Blue Steel. with
Oh yeah, yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, and it was directed
Mhm.
by a woman director, of course, Catherine Bigelow, who
Oh yeah.
yeah, and of course there was a lot of, I mean, body films with women cops, but it was more of comedies. I think Sandra Bullock had one
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But I think it is very interesting. I was asking you about the states because yeah, it depends. The United States is very wide. If you play a
Yeah.
cup in the South, it's different than in California where you are,
Oh
than New York,
yes.
because
Yeah.
every state has its challenges and its daily life different.
That's
You
very
know,
true. Yeah.
I've read beside your interview that somewhere I read that you do write poems. This is correct?
I do. Oh my God, again, like it's so funny that you did that deep
Uh,
dive. I do
in
write
in
poems. Yeah.
English
I
or
love to
in
write.
Espanol? Inglés or Espanol?
I've written poems in both. It's true that
Uh,
I tend to write more in English just because I'm the kind of person who adapts to where I'm at. So in
mm,
Spain, I still would write a lot in English because I learned, how to write, and I was reading mostly in English growing up. So there's something about writing in English that feels a little more natural. But it
mhm,
goes back and forth. Like there's times, and I love to read in Spanish. Like Lorca is one of my favorite
mm,
playwrights of all time. So he's a brilliant Spanish playwright. And then there's
mm,
Tennessee Williams or obviously Shakespeare. So I'm
mhm,
kind of like torn between sometimes writing in English or in Spanish. So I do a bit of both. And then this year I wrote my first original story. It was a kid's story about my experience as a semi-pro tennis player. And last week I recorded the audiobook. So hopefully that's something else that will be released. It'll be my first original story that is published as an audiobook for kids.
do you remember some syllables of the poem you write? Can we hear it from you now?
That's so funny. I'm literally like I could like pull up a poem. Uh I can read like the first like I
Yes.
guess 6 lines of one of the most
Mm-hmm.
recent ones. You
Mm-hmm.
ready?
Yes,
All right, here we
please.
go. I fell in love with all your broken parts. The more put together you tried to be, the bigger the cracks I saw in front of me. I needed to feel that my love could heal, so I poured all that I had for you and left none for me. We became attached because we both had voids to fill and thought we could do that for each other. You thought taking my love could fill your tank, and I thought giving you mine would somehow fill me up. That's just a little excerpt.
Very, very nice. Very touching.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherif.
Yeah. And since you have this I mean gift for writing as well, did you think about writing I mean a screenplay, either a short or a feature? Did you try to do so, or you have
Yes,
like some ideas of your own you want to develop?
I do. I'm developing two projects right now. One
Great.
is a travel female motorcycle show, which I'm really excited about, and we're actually like pitching it right now. And
Hmm.
the other is an action movie with a female biker lead, which I would play, obviously. So those are the two things, and so it's two very different kinds of projects. Like one is unscripted travel show, like kind of like Parts Unknown, with Anthony Bourdain, and the other
Yes.
is just a full-on, action film, like gritty action film. So I've dabbled on working on that script. That's actually something I'm developing with my creative partner Richard Douglas Jensen. So it's been
This is
great. I love writing, but I'm more of
mhm.
a performer. So writing is something that I like to do like a bit of on the side, but my main source of joy is definitely performing as an actor and a TV host.
Excellent. But try to be careful when doing your own stunts.
Oh yeah, true. I will. I will. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And right now, I want to ask you, right now, after the pandemic and everything, you've been telling me your new film has been released on YouTube.
Mhm.
It will be the first, I mean, medium. It will not be shown elsewhere. I mean, YouTube is like joining Amazon and Netflix in the streaming and the production, right?
I think they're talking about that. I know I talked to the director and he told me he was talking to Amazon
Yes,
about showing the film on Amazon. So hopefully
yes,
that happens too. But I mean, ultimately he just wants to get it seen. It's one of those
of
movies
course.
that he just wants to get exposure, which I totally understand.
Mhm.
While he's still trying to sell it.
Yes, I think, for a performer or an artist right now, the medium is not important. I mean, people right now, I think it's the same either to go to the cinema or watch at your home a new film. Because
Yeah.
I've seen also the television series um, right now have all around the world, have very good quality. I mean, cameras, post
Hmm.
production. You cannot
Hmm.
tell it's a film or a feature, right?
That's yeah, definitely. Like now, the fact that the technology has improved so much, but also decreased its cost, has allowed for people that normally wouldn't be filmmakers to become filmmakers. Like now, pretty much anyone can you know shoot their own film, and we've had
Yes,
films on like Sundance and like Cannes Film Festivals
yes,
that were shot with an iPhone or like a smartphone or even like a tablet. So
yes,
yeah, that's a wonderful thing. And there's so many, like you said, there's so many platforms that right now it's all about ideally getting your work out there. Like I was in this very popular web series called Chicken Girls. That's actually you can see it on Hulu, Peacock, and YouTube. So there's all these different ways of seeing it, and it's a very popular series. So that's something else that you guys can check out if you want to see me on a bit of a more television traditional role of a real estate agent slash mom, which was interesting to play.
yes. This is great. Natalia, I want to thank you very much for this beautiful interview. And I look forward for your next projects, as an actress and also as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I hope one day you have the time to publish your poems, as
Aw.
well. Either Spanish or English. I think they both will be great. And yeah, I hope next time we can join you on your location or your red carpet
But that'd be
premiere.
great. Yes. I have two red carpet events this coming week. So one is a screening of a project, and then the other is a pre Oscar event. So excited
Excellent.
about
Don't
that.
forget to send us the photos.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Gracias, Sherry. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. My pleasure being here.
yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.